The Boilers travel just about as far east as you can in the Big Ten to grab a big win that's going to serve them well in the Big Ten Western Division. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. Please like the video, share the videos out on social media, subscribe. We provide the best in discussion, debate, and analysis of college football right here. If you saw Purdue and Syracuse about a month ago, check out my instant analysis if you didn't. It was a crazy game. Check out the highlights. It was one of the fun games of college football this season. However, the refs made too much of an impact late in the game, and Purdue lost the game at the wire with 7 seconds left. Last play of the ball game, Purdue loses to Syracuse. Well, this one, maybe Purdue was given a payback in this one, courtesy Maryland and the officials as well. But Purdue would rather have this win because it's in the Big Ten, and it means a whole lot more as they move on to 2-1 in the Big Ten. And let's run it down for you. Purdue under Jeff Brom, bad road team early in his tenure at 5-8 in the Big Ten on the road, but now Purdue is 6-2 in their last 8 on the road in conference play. So Maryland takes down the field easy. 6 plays, 69 yards, 7-0 Terps. Then there was a number of mistakes that Maryland made that basically extended Purdue drives. There was one drive in which Purdue's got a possession inside the red zone, and Maryland gets the stop, but they have a legal substitution penalty. That gave Purdue new life. They score the touchdown. There was another one in which Maryland player cut in front of a Purdue wide receiver, was right in play for an interception inside the 10-yard line, dropped the interception, popped up into the air, and Purdue caught it to gain more yardage and set up a play at about the 5-yard line. There was another play in which there was a 2nd and 15 for Purdue, so they probably were going to get a field goal because they were inside the red zone, but not the touchdown. The touchdown would have been difficult, but there was a late hit roughing on Ahmad McCullough of Maryland. So Purdue continued to get new life based on Maryland mistakes to extend the scores in the first half. But man, Maryland's playmakers, well, they were there. This Maryland football team's much better, much better. The defense is sound. It's not great. It's sound. It's gone from rubbish in the Big Ten to mid-tier Big Ten defense. And Talia Tagovailoa is a first-rate quarterback in this conference. I would rate him probably the currently 3rd or 4th best quarterback in the Big Ten. Stroud, O'Connell, then you got JJ, and you got Talia Tagovailoa. That's what you've got right there. Really good quarterback, and he's got playmakers on the outside. And we saw Corey Dyches make a number of big plays for Maryland in this game, and this thing just went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Purdue made its fair share of mistakes that handed the ball back to Maryland as well. In the second half, after Purdue had gained a 17-10 lead, they turned it over 3 times. Aiden O'Connell had a fumble. Charlie Jones, who's had a miraculous season. This is really his first bad game. When I say bad game, I don't mean that he did a lot of horrible things, but just didn't get the football into his hands like he has the entire season. The Iowa transfer came into this game with 47 catches and 8 touchdowns. Now, in this one, just 3 catches for 15 yards, and he actually had a ball thrown behind him that he would tell you that he should have caught. He tipped it up in the air, and Ja'Cory Bennett picked it off from Maryland, and that stopped a Purdue drive there. Aiden O'Connell was also under siege. 5 sacks by the Maryland defense. He was running around, had to throw a number of passes out of bounds. Still went 30 of 41. Looked good on the stat sheet with 360 yards, but he clearly is not the downfield thrower that he was just a few weeks ago against Syracuse. He had the rib injury. He's still coming back from it. They really limited the playbook at Minnesota last week in nursing home a win at Minnesota, and they did much the same today, even though they did open up the offense because Maryland watched the recent game tapes. They didn't go off reputation. They watched the recent game tapes with one Devin Mockabee tearing up the Minnesota defense or gaining yards against the Minnesota defense last week as Purdue was more run heavy than they've been in years over the last few games. More run respectable team on offense, and Maryland played the run. And Devin Mockabee had a touchdown in this game, but only 13 carries for 26 yards. So the Purdue mistakes kept Maryland in the game and helped them to come back from a touchdown deficit. All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty in the last 5 minutes of the game. Maryland's driving. They're down 24-17. Roman Hemby, Maryland's number one back, catches the screen pass. This thing was beautifully set up and executed with a convoy in front of him on the 3rd and 11 in the red zone. He takes it in for the easy touchdown. Should have tied the game at 24, but Cam Allen wasn't completely on the end man line of the scrimmage, but he blocked the PAT, and I think he jumped. They showed the replay a number of times. I think they reviewed it. I thought he jumped. I thought he was early, but he got in there and he blocked the PAT, and that proved critical. So it was still 24-23 Purdue. So Purdue gets the ball, and you got to see the play that Payton Durham made. It was reminiscent of the play that he made against Tennessee in the Music City Bowl last year, when he threw basically the entire team off his back and pushed him down and threw him in the face and did all sorts of crazy things. Payton Durham caught a pass from Aiden O'Connell, 56 yards, and he just bullied the Maryland secondary, made them look like knuckleheads, and just threw them around and trudged it down to the 2-yard line. So then at this point, Purdue is up 24-23, and they got a situation on their hands with about 2 minutes left. Maryland's got a few timeouts, and Purdue ran a couple plays and to not score. Aiden O'Connell kind of weaved in toward the 1-yard line a couple times. Maryland did exasperate some timeouts, and Purdue finally scored. But with the 2-point conversion, it still was in play. It was called an insurance touchdown on the broadcast. Wrong. Purdue scores, led 24-23, scores to make it 31-23. Maryland still in the ball game. So Purdue scores with $1:20 left. They were inside the 10 with about 3 minutes left. They milked the clock as much as they could. Still, they finally had to score 31-23. Maryland gets it. Talia marches them down the field, and the final touchdown goes to Corey Dyches. Okay, now Maryland sets up a 2-point conversion. Talia rolls right. They flush him to the sideline. He finds Raheem Jarrett. It looks like it's overtime. 2-point conversion. But the officials called a Maryland offensive lineman for being illegally downfield. Now, that's usually a buffer of about 1.5 yards that they give those offensive linemen downfield. Hate to see that called. Hate to see that called to decide the game, because we were headed toward overtime. But they call the illegal man downfield. Maryland gives it another shot, of course, after the 5-yard penalty. And there you go. Incomplete pass. And Maryland tries the onside kick to no avail. Purdue survives, and they leave College Park at 2-1 in the Big Ten. Maryland's having a nice season, too. I think these are very equally matched teams, as evidenced by the game today, of course. But Maryland, of course, plays in the Big Ten East. They've already lost to Michigan. I had mentioned this week a number of times to people that asked, this is a more important game and was a more important game for Purdue because they're still in the Western Division race, while Maryland's, by all intents and purposes, even before this game, having lost to Michigan head-to-head, out of it. They're looking to break through the glass ceiling and the upper division of the Big Ten East, and they did that partially by defeating Michigan State by 2 scores last week. They've got Penn State up ahead, Ohio State. Again, they've already lost to Michigan. Could be a nice season for Maryland. They're now 4-2 on the year, 2 losses in the Big Ten. But let's turn our attention to Purdue because they're playing for a championship in the West. They already have the best win in the division, the most important win in the division. They won at Minnesota last week. Now, despite a loss against Penn State and having the roughest or one of the toughest non-division schedules in the Big Ten, they've now defeated Maryland on the road. Big win for Purdue. So here's how it shapes up. They've got Nebraska, Wisconsin, Iowa, Illinois, Northwestern, and Indiana. They can win all those games. Northwestern's a horrible football team. Again, Nebraska, Purdue's a better team. They should win that game. Wisconsin, they're a better team this year. Iowa, basically a toss-up. Purdue, though, has, of course, an offense. The Illinois game will be important and will be interesting if the Illini continue to play the way they have the first half of this season. No burner on the offense. That hurts his team. They could use a David Bell type. I know Charlie Jones is a really good player, and he's quick, he's fast, but not elite top-end guy with the NFL frame. Not that he won't play in the NFL, but I mean prototypical NFL size. And that's really the issue, and they don't have a marquee back. Devin Mockabee should not be a starting running back in the Big Ten. Good player. Give him all the credit in the world for contributing to this offense, but Purdue is missing running back talent and top-end wide receiver talent. They've got a really good wide receiver room, but they need the number one guy. They don't have him. So it's a good team. It's a decent team. They can win the West, and they have done the work the last couple of weeks to really put themselves in prime position. Purdue defeats Maryland 31-29. Your thoughts down below right here at the Voice of College Football. Join me tonight at 11:30 Eastern Time. 11:30 Eastern Time. Give me a call. We'll talk college football as we wrap up Week 6.